offsprings formed due to sexual reproduction have better chances of survival. Why? Is the statement always true? So according to this question, the offspring, that is new organisms which is formed by the process of sexual reproduction, they have better chances of survival. The reason for this could be the offsprings that are produced by sexual reproduction exhibit variation. So in the previous question, we learnt that variations are formed during the process of sexual reproduction, that is during gamete formation, recombination takes place, crossing over occurs. Now this gave rise to new variations or new genes. Now these new genes, when they express proteins, they might be beneficial for an organism. Now if the new protein which is produced, if it is beneficial, then the organism can survive better. Now let's take an example. Now all these variation do not occur during the process of asexual reproduction. So the entire offsprings which is formed would be genetically similar. Now suppose if there is a population, in the population there are 100 individuals and all these 100 individuals are formed by a process of asexual reproduction. That means all these 100 individuals would be genetically similar. There would be no changes in them. And if we consider another population with 100 individuals, and these 100 individuals are formed by the process of sexual reproduction, they would be different. Now all the 100 individuals will not be similar. They could show a variation, differences among them. Now in these two examples, if we take these dogs, they reproduce by sexual reproduction. Therefore the individuals would not be similar in that population. Whereas starfish, they can regenerate. They have high process of regeneration. That is one of the mode of asexual reproduction. So the offsprings which is produced in that manner would be exactly similar. Now let's take one scenario and understand why sexual reproduction would favor an individual to survive. Now suppose in the environment where the organisms are living, if any changes occurs in an environment. Now with this changed environment or new environment, the organisms may not survive. For example, if one individual fails to survive, so there's a population with 100 individuals, they are formed by asexual reproduction. The changes occurs in the environment. Now even if a single individual fails to adjust to this new environment, that means all the 100 individuals are genetically similar in that environment. So all those 100 individuals fails to survive in that changed environment. So an entire population or the whole population would be destroyed if they are genetically similar. Suppose if even a single one fails to survive, then the whole population would be destroyed. Now suppose if those individuals would have formed by the sexual mode of reproduction, that means variations would have been among the individuals. If one would have failed to survive, there would be another individual with a new character that will support the organism to survive in the changed environment. So the entire population will not vanish if variations are present in them. So that is why variation is required for the individual. Now, but this above statement is not always true, because variations are not always beneficial. So if lethal variation occurs, then the individual may fail to survive. So if the variations are favorable, then in the changed environment they would survive. Suppose if the variation which has occurred, if it has harmful effect or a deleterious effect, then we call such variations as lethal variations, and that also reduces the chances of survival. So always the statement cannot be true, but in majority of the cases sexual reproduction helps an individual to survive.